studio premiered just a few months ago and already, as I just noted, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Comedy Series. How does it feel to have this kind of recognition so early? What do you think resonates most with fans and audiences about the show's satire and very funny take on Hollywoodland?
Yeah. Firstly, thank you for having me. And I would say I feel great. It feels like I was a part of a group project that really exceeded expectations. So I'm just happy to be a part of the group. It's really cool. And I think people resonate with the I think that there is this idea that like Hollywood is like a very special place. And so to be able to satirize it and make it universal in the sense of capitalism is generally bad and everybody's struggling. So even the ones at the top and kind of pulling a curtain back to show that like even like the glitz and glam of Hollywood is still at the end of the day humans doing things and feeling things. And so I think that really created a universality that allowed people that weren't even a part of the industry to attach themselves emotionally.
Like your character Tyler has been such a standout, and you've had that now viral episode with Ice Cube and Sandra Oh. So, Dwayne, let me ask you, what drew you to this role? What drew you to the character of Tyler, and how do you kind of approach balancing comedy with the social commentary in that storyline?
I think generally the show itself, being able to kind of hold multiple hats within my career, I've been on like the writing side, I've been like behind the camera, I've been in front of the camera, and I've interacted with a lot of executives and being a part of like studio systems. And so to now portray someone that's a part of the studio system, I was able to bring a lot of just what I've experienced um, in my own as I continue to work. Um, and I think it all starts on the page, to be honest. Like I think that it's not hard to be funny when a script is funny. So the biggest job was to just make it feel real. Because I think that is what is most funny is the audience believing that these people are real people that are doing and experiencing these things. Um, and so I feel like I was prepped to be great, to put my best foot forward because the material was already good. And then they gave us enough freedom to kind of put our own sauce on it when we could.
Now, you are obviously sharing the screen with some heavy hitters like Seth Rogen, right? Catherine O'Hara. How would you describe the creative energy on the set?
It felt like adult, like summer camp. Because the way that they shot it, it was a lot of one-ers, a lot of continuous shots, and it really felt like theater. And a lot of us started in theater, so it felt like we were kind of able to exercise a part of us that we haven't in a while. And I think it really creates a sense of camaraderie because no matter your kind of skill level or like your like level of fame, um, if you mess up the take, you mess it up for everybody. So it was like a really equalizing creative environment, which I think really garnered good vibes. So when like we would say cut, no one was like, "Oh, I'm leaving to go to my trailer." It was just like bits, fun. So it was just a really positive experience. And I feel like often people say that because like you have to not look bad. But I'm actually very happy that like I can truthfully say this. I was talking to a friend yesterday about how there's a stereotype that Canadians are like very nice. And I said, yeah, they really put nailed that. It was just like very pleasant in a way that I was like excited by.
This is our first time chatting. We've never met, obviously, but you have such a genuine kind of good spirit. I can even feel through this screen, right? Like you just seem
Thank
like a
you.
nice person that people want to get to know. When you take on a character like this, how much of your own persona do you bring to a character like Tyler or any character really? How much of Dwayne's essence and spirit do you put into the characters you play?
It depends. First of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I have done a lot of like work personally to just kind of embody a person that I really love. And I think that exudes when I interact with people because I can just kind of 100% be myself and have no worries because I really enjoy who I am. And so I'm glad that that shows. And then I feel like within acting, I try to bring that level of just like self-confidence, self-worth. There's a little bit I would say of like charm that I try to bring. I think that that is a big part of my personality is like energy, knowing that um I have a light and that if I can put that within each character, no matter what their personality is, that could be a through line with my career. It's just being able to bring that. And if I can bring that, I know that nobody else could because it's specifically mine. So that has been something that I've been very intentional about is trying to forge a path that feels uniquely me.
Very good. And you hit it right there. You used two very words that I would describe you personally perfectly. Charming and light. That's it. The light, I'm feeling that glow, brother. It's like, man, I really like this guy. I'm gonna start following everything he does now.
Thank you.
Okay, so the show has already been renewed for a second season, right? So I don't know how much you can share. I mean, without giving too much away, if you know where the second season is going, what can fans expect from Tyler? Or if you don't know, where would you like to see his kind of journey go in the second season?
Yes, must say I do not know. I was like, what can I tell you? Not a goddamn thing. I don't know. But I would something that I would love. Me and Catherine Hahn, like on our first day on set, there was just like a connection and we were just like having like we just was like, oh, this is fun. Like I enjoy this what we have like this dynamic of the characters. And I would love to explore like that dynamic more and see what that could be. I think that Tyler has like a work persona. And I think that typically, I think there's a level of code switching that happens within these environments. And I feel like the perspective that we've seen of Tyler thus far has been like, this is the version that he has to be at work. And it would be cool to kind of see behind that. To see like, is this really who he is, or is this who he thinks he has to be to succeed in this environment?
I like that. Yeah, that would be great to. Yeah, so when the writers and producers see this interview and they hear you say that, I hope they consider
Mhm.
that when they're writing your journey and your background for next season, because we
Yes.
would love to see that.
I'm
Yeah.
looking for an episode where it's revealed that Tyler is a real ass nigga.
Okay. I was thinking that exactly. I was thinking that while you were describing, I was thinking, we want to see what he's like with his black ass friends. Okay. That's what we want to see. Okay. Very good. I'm glad we're on the same page. All right.
Yeah.
Now, Dwayne, you started your career in the writers' rooms, right? You've worked for a number of shows. So now that you're starring one of TV's hottest new comedies, how would you say your writing background has shaped the way you approach acting?
I think it has helped creatively, but also like literally. I first met Seth because I was a writer on Sausage Party, his show on Amazon. And so like it's the connections are already there. And I think that being able to establish my skill just in comedy and just knowing my um like intellect. I've worked in sketch, improv. I'm a stand-up. I've worked in late night. So just like the breadth of comedy that I know and have studied is just large. And so I think that that allows me to imbue that within my acting, like timing. People know that I'm an improviser. They know that if there's a joke that doesn't work, I could come up with one very quickly. So just being able to have uh to allow people to have confidence in my skill set, I think has really helped with acting because it quickly lets people know that I am an asset to a set in many different ways. And then I also think it has given me more empathy to the process. Um, and as I continue to grow and be in positions of power and leadership, I'm able to create environments that holds a lot more space for the different experiences that people have within the different positions. Um, and I think that that has just made me a better artist generally. But as an actor, I used to like hate like the like hurry up and wait of it all. But then once I started to be on set as a writer, I knew why they were waiting. And so that gave me more grace. Like it just allowed me to kind of understand the system better and how to navigate it in a way that allows me to be my best self and then create spaces where people think can then be their best selves as well.
Right on. Very good. Now, wait, on that note, then, so how is your experience as a writer, producer, actor? I'm reading here my notes. The Blackening, which you co-wrote, was a breakout success, and now you're developing the sequel. So, how has your, I mean, you're wearing many hats, sir. How has your experience in Hollywood so far, your journey as this kind of Renaissance man, influenced the kind of stories you want to tell going forward?
Vastly. I think that I have my brain like knows what stories it wants to tell. But then I think the work that I've been able to do has created kind of a filter or like a lens through a business sense of knowing, okay, what idea feels like it can actually be made okay, if this system won't take this idea because it's too risky, then what's another path? Is there like an independent route? Even the blackening going the festival route, and that was the first time that I did that. I think I've just learned a lot that allows me to create with knowledge instead of just creating for the sake of creation, which has its place. But I think wanting to build um, a slate of projects and really wanting to make things, uh, being able to wear so many hats just gives me vital information as to how to just navigate a system that is historically very hard, especially for the marginalized. Um, and so I think I have had to expand the ways in which I navigate systems, but it has given me validation to keep pushing the stories that I want to tell, despite the journey sometimes being more difficult than if I were just to make things that I know would sell. So it's been an interesting, I feel like it has solidified me as a artist, but also worn me out. But it's all good. And I also want to say that the Blackening was just put on Netflix today in the US, which is very cool, and everybody should go watch it because that is artistically like my like baby. As I was saying earlier, it really that is a project that I feel feels uniquely me. The journey of it, how it, the origin of it, even from the characters. Like I was talking to one of the members of Three Peat who created the sketch that the movie was adapted from, and even knowing that like their names are in the movies as the characters, and seeing that as like a monument for my love for my friends and like how it's a very special project. So. Yeah, it has really shaped greatly. I feel like the stories that I'm trying to continue to tell.
As I was preparing for this interview yesterday, I'm like, he's from the South Side of Chicago. I'm from the South suburbs of Chicago. Okay, so I always love talking to my fellow Chicago people. You are a Second City alum. And listen, I always say being from having Chicago roots certainly influenced how I navigated LA when I lived there for about 20 years before I came back to Chicago. So, how have your Chicago roots influenced your voice as a writer, as an actor, your performances?
Yeah, I think Chicago has a significant, like, I think it's like profound in the way that I have, in the artist that I've become. Um, I think it creates a really good artist, mainly because there has to be a very self-motivated passion because there wasn't a lot of opportunities that garnered motivation. Like you weren't about to get a big payday. Like you were doing art for art's sake. And it gave me my DIY spirit of not waiting for people to give you something, but simply to make something because you want it made. And then seeing the fruits of what can come from simply creating. Like I didn't know that The Blackening would be a movie. I just knew I had to write a sketch for a sketch show that I was in. So I did. And then when I got a web series deal for Comedy Central, I said, "Oh, this is a sketch." So then we made like just it it forged my work ethic. And then I moved from Chicago to New York, then New York to LA. But by the time I got to LA, I had already knew who I was as an artist. I got that from Chicago, and then New York gave me like a hustle spirit, being like, "Oh, this is very hard. So if I can do it here, then I can do it anywhere." So then when I moved to LA, I already had a strong sense of self as an artist and a work ethic that made LA not scary. I was like, oh, I know how to navigate this. Like you can't convince me to be afraid of pitching to an executive when I've experienced real life. Like I've experienced like having to dodge bullets. Like real life is real life, and this is art. And I can bring my full self to this art because who gonna tell me I can't? So that's the Chicago spirit in me that I think has really allowed me to move through this industry and retain who I am, because I know that who I am is enough.
I love that. Exactly. Very good. I'm going to end with a little fun, quick lightning round of questions. Really
Okay.
quick, okay? So the first one is who breaks character the most on set?
I would say probably Seth, but that's because he's wearing a lot of hats, and there'll be moments where he'll be like watching, like as a director, and then he's like, "Oh shit, I have a line." I was too like in it, and be like, "Wow, this is good." So that was always funny to us.
What's one dream collaboration you haven't had yet?
Um, I would love to work with Kenny Ortega. I I loved like a movie musical, and I used to always say that I wanted my career to be like Jordan Peele meets Kenny Ortega, and I really want to be in like a movie musical. I love musicals so much. I was a professional dancer for like a long time. I wanted to do a movie musical so bad.
Right on. Let's you put it out there, let the universe receive it, let it come to fruition. Okay. And third and final question in this lightning round. What's your go-to comfort show when you just want to laugh?
Um, I would say it's between Sister Sister and My Wife and Kids.
Very good.
Classic. I love me a classic multicam.
Very good. Very good, Dwayne. Well, Dwayne, that's my time, sir, Mr. Dwayne Perkins. It's been a joy speaking with you today. You are so delightful. I'm your biggest new fan. Okay.
Thank you. This was wonderful. I'm your fan as well.
Thank you, sir. You have a great rest of your day.